Okay, so today we'll be starting with Java, wherever we left when we covered Java last time. So one of the topic I wanted to cover is uh, two-dimensional array. We have only completed one-dimensional array, so I'll be starting with two-dimensional array. Next topic I'll cover is string, because string handling is one of the important topic in Java. Then I'll start with OOPS concepts. Okay, so let me create a new package for today and I'll call it day 8. Okay, and in this I'll create a class with name array example. We'll keep this public static void main checked. I just want to explain you a two-dimensional array, and we'll also see one-dimensional array. Along with that, we'll also see string arrays, strings basically. Okay, so what is a two-dimensional array? Let me open a Notepad++. Okay, so we saw one-dimensional array. In one-dimensional array, there is one block of memory locations which are allocated and which we keep on putting up the value. Okay, so to understand this two-dimensional array, the best example is any matrix. Okay, so just recall the time when we started matrix. Okay, so that's the same thing. So here you can see it will be like a matrix. So if I just put on values, it will be like this. Okay, so the values will be like this. It will be an array only, which will save homogeneous type of data. So here you can see all the values which we are storing. They all are integers. Okay, so either you will have integer array, or you will have a string array, or you will have a character array, and so on. Okay, just look at this here. If we see properly, if I talk about one-dimensional array, then we have values like this, right? In a single line, you'll keep on storing values in different memory locations. But if we talk about two-dimensional array, here we have two things. One is row. So here this will be a row. Okay, I can call it, instead of I'll call it row. Okay, and we have columns. So these are columns. Okay, so this is column. So these are rows for us, these are columns for us. It's like a matrix. Okay, so when you store a value, there will be an index to it. Like we saw for only one line, we have index 23, 24, 26, 67. So this is one single line. What index we used to put here? So the first value with whatever we are storing, that will be at 0th index. The second value which we are storing, that will be at first index. The third value which we are storing, that will be at second index, and so on. Okay, now similar to it, if I talk about a two-dimensional array, then the index will be this value you see here. This will be at 0, 0 location. It won't be single 0, it will be at 0 row, 0 column. So I'll say 0, 0. This will be at 0, 1. This will be at 0, 2. This will be at 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. So this is how index in a two-dimensional array is defined. Clear to all? If I have to write here, I'll write like this. So the index, if I talk about index, it will be 0, 0, then it will be 0, 1, then it will be 0, 2. So here you can see the row, the first one is row. Row remains same, 0, 0, 0. But column is changing. Column is changing from 0 to 1 to 2. Similarly, for second row, row number is fixed, that is 0, 1, then 1, 1, then 1, 2. Then it will be 2, 0, next 2, 1, next 2, 2. Like this, you can have any size of array, 3, 1, then 3, 2, and so on. Okay. So I hope you got a representation, an idea that how a two-dimensional array will look like. Now let's see this in here. So here I'll create a two-dimensional array. How you have to create a two-dimensional array? Just like one-dimensional array. In one-dimensional array, we used to put the data type and then a square bracket, right? So here, instead of one square bracket, you will put two square brackets. Then give it a name. Let's say I have given a name ARR equal to. Then I'll put new keyword. Then it will be again int. Then in the square bracket, two square brackets. In these square brackets you will give the dimensions of the array. So here if I talk about this array has 4 rows and 3 columns. This array has 3 rows and 3 columns, right? So the dimension for the second one will be 4 rows, 3 columns. So this is how you will give the size of the array. Okay, any questions in this? So I hope you all remember now why this new keyword is used. New keyword is used to give the memory location, to allocate memory to this particular variable. Now ARR is the variable. In the square bracket, I'll put the values like this, 0, 0, right? So this first value, whatever we have, is at 0th index. What value you want to insert? You can simply insert like this. Let's say I want to insert 23. Okay, so I'll just copy it. Okay, so here you can see that rows are 4 and columns are 3, right? So here I've kept, so it will be 0, 1, 0, 0, then 0, 1, and then 0, 2. Okay. Similarly, I'll copy it. This complete thing, I can change the values, maybe 25, maybe 27, and then I can paste it 4 times. My bad. Just give me a second. I'll copy the complete one, paste it 4 times because I have 4 rows. What will change? Here, rows will change. So it will be 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2, then 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2. Okay, values you can assign anything, maybe 28, 29, 23, maybe 35, 37, 33, 95, 65, 43, any values. Okay, so I have assigned all the values to these variables. Okay, now iteration. How will you iterate? Okay, so iterating over a two-dimensional array, you can see that when I have to iterate over it, I have to iterate over each rows as well as each cell. So for the first row, I'll go through each. For second, I'll go through each. For third, I'll go through each. Like this, I'll work, right? So just recall the time when we studied about uh, that patterns. In patterns also we saw multi-loop. So here also you'll have multiple for loops. So it will be for int I equal to, it will start from 0, then I less than. Now what you need? You need the size of the array, right? So the size of the array will be ARR. What you need this time? You need rows, right? So it will be simply ARR of length. Then I plus plus. So what this ARR of length will give me? This will give me how many rows are there. Okay. Then for each row, you will iterate over each cell, like row number 1 or row number 0. I'll go through 0, 1, 2. Then row number 1, I'll go to 0, 1, 2, and so on. Right. So here I'll put another for loop. It will be int j. I'll call it j. So j equal to 0. Then this time I want to see for a particular row, what is the length. Okay, so for first row I want to see how many values are there or how many cells are there. So here we'll say ARR. Now I want for a particular row, so I'll put an I here. ARR, I'll say j less than ARR of I dot length. Okay, then it will be j plus plus. Clear? What I've done in the first one, I want only the rows. So how will you get the rows? Whatever is your array dot length will give you number of rows. Then when you want to get the columns in a particular row, in that particular array, pass the row and then dot length. So for this particular row, for I equal to 0, the length will be ARR of 0 dot length. So ARR of 0 is what? This one. What is the length? 3. So here the value will come as 3. Okay, this is how it will work. Let's say I just want to print my array. So I'll say ARR and I'll say system.out.println ith row and jth column. So ARR of ij I am printing. So for the first time when the value of I will be 0 and the value of j will be 0, what will get print? 0 0. ARR of 0 0 will get print. Okay, I'll put some white spaces. Why this white spaces? Just to print this white space. Whatever space we have between 23 and 24 or 24 and 26. Whatever space we have, that's what we are printing here. Okay, one more thing for this for loop. Okay, like here you can see that after every row we are creating a new line. So after every iteration I want to create a new line. So here I'll simply say system.out.println, which will just print a new line and this will print normally. Clear? I'll run this complete thing in debug mode, probably then it will be more clear. So but let me run it just like this. So you can see it has printed the values in a matrix format. See 23, 25, 27, 43, 65. So whatever value we inserted here, those are getting printed in format. And look at this, the size of the array was 4. So if you look at the size, there are 4 rows and each row has 3 columns. So 4 by 3, 4 rows, 3 columns. Any questions? Okay, fine. So this is that. Now I'll run it in debug mode, probably then it will be more clear. So what I'm doing, I'm just putting a breakpoint here and now I'll run it in debug mode. Okay, so where is debug? Right click, debug as Java application. So you can see it has opened the debug perspective. Okay, I don't need this, I'll just close it. Okay, so look at this. Now here in the variable section, a variable is created with name ARR. So this is the ARR. As it's an array, if you expand it, you will see there are 4 rows. Look at the size of the array. So you can see that there are 4 rows, 0, 1, 2, 3, sizes 4. For each row, how many columns we need? 3. So if you expand this, you will get 3. So it will be 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. So look at this. At at 0, 0, you are inserting 23. 0, 1, you are inserting 25. At 0, 2, you are inserting 27. So 0, 0, you are inserting 23. 0, 1, you are inserting 25. And 0, 2, you are inserting 27. Similarly, 1, 0, 23. 1, 1, 65. 1, 2, 97. And so on. Okay. So this is how then it will be 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. Then 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2. So this is how your variables are created. Okay, an array is created. Now I'll start iterating. So my code is at this particular position. Here you can see that arrow is there. So see, the value of I is 0 when I execute this command, so I'll press F8. Remember, F5 and F6 were this code, so I'll press F5. Okay, so here you can see I is 0, so ARR is an array, and if I look at the length, okay, look at the value of here I is 0. Okay, I need a variable to set this. Okay, it's not giving like this. Probably next time I'll create an array for this and I++. Now I'll move on. Here you can see, so the value of I is 0, ARR of 0, 0. So here, this is an array. This is 0, this is 0. So ARR of 0, 0, 0, 0, what value you are getting? 23. So if I print this, you can see here, 23 is printed. So 23 is printed here. Okay, now I will remain 0 till the time all the loops are printed, all the loops are executed. So you can see the arrow is again here, so I'll execute it again. Now 25 is printed. So for I equal to 0, all the three values will execute. I'll execute it again, so you can see that all the three values are printed. So for I equal to 0, this code runs 3 times. Once 3 times it executed, then when I execute this, you can see it will go to a new line. So next time it's printing in a new line. Then again it printed 65, then it printed 97, then it's 33, 35, 37. So all the three things are printed, and then it will go to the last one and will print all the three. Okay, so that's how it works. Now I'll just resume the code and then terminate all the sessions, come back to Java mode. Clear how this for loop works? Okay, so is it clear that how two-dimensional arrays are created, then how you assign values to them, and then how you execute them? Okay, fine. So there are few assignments. There will be few programs which I'll be giving you on this. Probably today I'll give you. Uh, Rupesh, you have a question. Can you show how we can take input values from user through iteration? Sure. I'll show you. That's something which I guess I've not covered is also. So I'll give you now. Though it's not used in Selenium, but yeah, for your practice purpose, uh, you can create that. So maybe I'll create scanner example. So there is something known as scanner which you can use to take input from a user. I'll keep this public static void main checked. Okay, well, we'll discuss about a scanner first with a small example, and then I'll move it to arrays. Okay, so what is a scanner and what exactly Rupesh want to achieve here is, see, currently when I'm using any of the example, any Java program, the values which I have to assign, I'm keeping them hard coded. Okay, now what is my expectation is that these values which are hard coded, I instead of these hard coded values, I want to take them from user. Okay, so maybe at runtime. So how you can do that? Say for example, I have an int variable, let's say uh, first number. Okay, and let's say I'm creating two variables, second number, and then sum. Three variables I've created. Now what I'll do normally, I'll put first number equal to some value, second number equal to some value, and then sum equal to first number plus second number, right? Instead of that, I'm creating a class called scanner. Okay, you have to take one from java.utils. You can see that scanner is available from multiple locations. You have to take one from java.utils, then just give it any name equal to new scanner. Okay, so here I've just given the name. Now This scanner takes some source can be a file, it can be console, it can be some database, can be anything. For now I'll just give console, so I'll say console. You have to take one from java.io, console.in. uh, okay, let it be console only. Just a second, what was it? um,
Saurabh, is system.in, right?
yeah, yes, it's system.in, my bad. Thank you so much. So I just forget it. It's system.in. What it says is that for the system, like the console which we have, it takes from there. The other console was something else. Okay, so what we have done is we have just initiated a scanner. This input source we have given as system.in. You can keep it as a file, you can keep it as some Excel sheet, you can keep it anything. But yeah, now there are better options available than scanner. So once we'll start with file handling, we'll learn those rather than scanner, because scanner is an old concept, but yeah, very useful in this kind of thing. Okay, so one thing, whenever you initialize any scanner, at the end, never forget to close it. So it will be scanner.close at the end. So I always prefer this, just that whenever I start the scanner, at the end, I always close it. Okay, now in between, you can do whatever you want. So I wanted to insert first value, right? So I'll say first number equal to sc dot. Now there are many methods. Okay, so based on the data type, you have to insert the values here. Okay, say for example, for now I just want int. So here is the second option. You can see return type is int. So next int. Okay, next int will be whatever integer you'll pass, it will take that value and assign it to first number. Okay, similarly, you can put second number as sc dot next int. So whatever integer value you'll pass, that is what it will take. Then sum will be first number plus second number, right? And then I can simply print the sum. So I can say sum equal to sum here. Okay, also before this we start this, I can just put one system.out.println to just say enter two numbers. Okay, so so what it is doing, this line will simply get print. After that, it will wait for you to enter some integer. As soon as you enter some integer, it will insert that value to first number. Similarly, this int sc dot next int, it will take the next integer and put it in this. Okay. For string values, instead of, like, if I talk about other data types, so sc dot, we have next for string value. Then we saw about next int, that is for integer. Next line is again for string. So this is like you will pass the complete string, I mean a complete line. And there are many more methods, next byte and so on, but yeah, not for use for us. Like here we have next byte, next boolean, next double, next float, next short. So all the 8 data types which we studied, for everything we have one method here. Okay, now I'll execute this code. Right click, run as Java application. So here you can see that it is waiting for you. Okay, I just printed something, then it is waiting for us. So here if I'll say any number 78, see the color is changed because this is something which is through scanner. I press enter, then I pressed another number, let's say 79. As soon as I press enter, you can see the sum of these two numbers is printed here. Okay, so this is how you will take input from a user using the console. Any questions in this? Okay, so the question which Rupesh asked was that how can we take this value and put it in an array? So let's see that now. Okay, Rupesh, you have a question. What is system.in? System is a class. System is a class provided by Java, which has many things. So if you recall, we can do at system level. Okay, so if you recall, when we used to set the system property, that variable webdriver.chrome.driver, so we were using system.set property, right? So like this, to take input to give output to the system means this console. Okay, so to give that system, or you can say that this environment we are working on, we call it as system.in. Okay, so recall that method system.out.println. What is that? You're giving output. System.in is like taking input. Okay, so system is a class. You can read about it in Java docs, like what exactly it do. Okay, moving ahead, next will be I'll take this scanner and put the values into an array in this array. So I'll just copy this, paste it here, and here we'll say array scanner example. Okay, now as I want to take input from the user, I'll just remove all these values which we just inserted. Okay, all these default values. Okay, all these default values which I just took, I just remove it, and I'll initialize this for loop again. I'll put another for loop. Okay, this for loop will be to take values, uh, to insert values to an array. Okay, and the other for loop is to print values out of an array, to print values out of an array. Okay, now here when I have to take the values, it will be arr of ij. Okay, and we'll insert value to it. Okay, so value, as you want to put it through a scanner, I'll initialize a scanner. So I'll say scanner sc equal to new scanner, and here I'll say system dot in. Okay, and at the end I'll just close it. So I'll say sc dot close. Okay, now here it will be sc dot next int. This is what you're going to take. Okay, so what it will do, it will assign values to the array which you're using. So when your loop will start, the value of I will be 0, the value of j will be 0. So the first value which you're going to insert will be arr of 0 0. You'll insert value to it. Then arr of 0 1, you'll insert a value to it. Arr of 1 0, and so on. Like this it will work. Okay, so if I execute the code now, okay, so here it's waiting for values to get insert. So see here, I can insert the values now. Okay, so you can see I inserted all the values. As soon as I inserted all the values, those were getting printed. Why they're getting printed? Because of this. Okay, clear? Any questions in this? Okay, cool. So this is all about two-dimensional arrays. Not all about two-dimensional arrays. We are left with one more thing, that is uh, in this array, that is iterating over this for loop. Instead of this normal for loop, I want to iterate using enhanced for loop. We also have enhanced for loop, right? So I just want to iterate using that. Okay, so see how you can do that. Uh, okay, Abhilasha, you have a question. What is the purpose of scanner? Good question. See, let's compare these two examples. The first array example which I discussed here, this array which I created, this ARR, the values to these variables, this array, I was keeping the hard-coded values for 0023, for 0125. They are assigned in in the code. Every time when I run this, you will always get the values like this. The same values you'll get, no matter how many times you execute the code, right? But in the other example, that is an array scanner example, here you can see that I'm using scanner to take the values. Okay, so the purpose is that it helps you in taking value from the console from the user. Okay, so this is one way of getting input values. Going forward, we'll also learn how you can take values or this test data from an Excel sheet, from a database, and so on. Getting the idea, Abhilasha? Or any other questions? Okay. So in single line, if I have to say what is the purpose of scanner, it's to take input from the user on runtime. Okay. So next, as I was telling that I have to cover the same thing using enhanced for loop. So just recall the normal enhanced for loop. Okay. So I'll again just copy paste maybe this copy and then paste it here, and we'll call it array enhanced loop. Okay, so here when I am iterating over this, I just want to execute through enhanced for loop, not the normal for loop which we have. Okay, so for that, what you can do, uh, so it will be for, okay, just recall what you have when you do it for a single array or one dimensional array. If I recall, for one dimensional array, I do like this: int, uh, maybe I create a temporary variable, maybe I call it temp cell, okay, colon, and then name of the array over which you want to iterate, right? So I give ARR, right? uh, this is when you have a one dimensional array. Now you don't have one dimensional array, you have two dimensional arrays. So what we'll do, we'll break them into two. First we'll put int with a square bracket. So we will break two-dimensional array into one-dimensional array. So I'll call it, let's say, temp row, and then again we'll say int. This time I'll say temp column over temp row. I'll explain you what exactly I'm trying to do. Just give me a second, and then I'll simply system.out.println. I'll print temp call, and here I'll simply print system.out.println. So let's execute this if it's working fine. If yes, then I'll explain you how it works. So the shortcut to execute the code is Shift Control X and then a J. Okay, it has an error. Okay, my bad. It should not be anything. Okay, so Shift Alt X then J. So you can see it has printed. The only thing is it does not have white spaces. So I'll put white spaces in it. You can see that the same values like earlier are printed. So let's look at this for loop, this enhanced for loop. Okay, see what I'm doing here. Let me also show you when we studied the normal for loop. Int array example maybe here. Guys, I covered enhanced for loop, right? Or not? I remember I covered. No. Is it the case? Few are saying yes, few are saying no. Let me check if I covered or not. I guess I have not covered. Let me. Okay, class 3 you're saying I covered. While int array, yeah, not this. Multi for loop. No, I guess I have not covered enhanced for loop. It's fine. I'll cover that first. Normal enhanced for loop, and then I'll come to multidimensional. Okay, it's okay. I'll cover it again. Enhanced for loop. Okay, so what is this enhanced for loop? Let's say I just create a normal array instead of two dimensional. I'm creating a one dimensional array int, and let's say I give it a name arr equal to new int, and then in the square bracket you'll give the size. Let's say the size is 5. Okay, I'll put values to it. Maybe arr of 0 is something equal to 89. I'll copy it for the 4 more times, and we'll change the value, and here it will be 1 2 3 4. Okay, so we saw one for loop that was where I'm starting int I equal to 0, then I length less than equal to arr dot length, then I plus plus. Another way of using this or iterating over a loop or iterating over an array is using enhanced for loop. So the keyword again remains for. Okay, then here inside this for, what we do, we define like this int. Then because the data type of this is integer, here you can see the data type of all these are integers, so I'll say int, then a temporary variable, let's say temp. Okay, then colon, and give the name of the array over which you want to iterate. Okay, so here I have given the name as arr. Now how it works is, for each iteration, one by one, values from this arr array will come to this temp. For the first iteration, the value of I will be 0. That means for the first iteration, the index will be 0. So in temp, you will get arr of 0. For second iteration, you will get arr of 1 in temp. For third iteration, you will get arr of 2 in temp, and so on. Okay, so here system.out.println, I'll say temp. Okay, so when I execute it, maybe I'll put a white space. Okay, so I'll just execute it, and then I'll show you in debug mode as well. So when I run it, you can see that values are getting printed one by one. Okay, so how it happened, as I told you that for the first iteration, the value of ARR of 0 was set into temp and then we use that value. Second iteration, ARR of 1 is put into temp and that is what we used. Third iteration, ARR of 2 is put into temp and so on. So if we see this in debug mode, I'll put a debug mode here, right click, debug as Java application. Okay, so here you can see this is my array, right? And here you can also see that there is no temp variable. Okay, and the values are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Values are this. Uh, what happened? Okay, fine. I'll execute the code now. Um, okay, I'll execute the code now. I'm here. So I'll press F5. You can see as soon as I pressed F5, a variable with the name temp is created. Look at the value of that. Temp has ARR of 0. As I told you that for the first time it will get ARR of 0. When I print this, it will get print. Temp is gone. Okay, as soon as this one iteration is covered, this temp variable will go. When I execute it again, you can see a temp variable is created again with the name with the value 86, and this time we have a value ARR of 1. Okay, it printed, then 87 got printed, 85 got printed, 84 got printed, and all the code is executed. I'll press F8 to resume, then terminate all sessions, come back to Java mode. Clear how this enhanced for loop works? So what we are doing here, we are dividing or we are breaking our one dimensional array into values which will get in temp. Okay, now any questions here, anyone? Okay, uh, so now I'll go back to my enhanced loop example. Here what I'm doing, I'm breaking my two-dimensional array into one dimensional first. So what this will have, this will have all the rows one by one. So this temp row, in this at every execution one row will come. So for the first iteration it will get first row. In that first row, see, if we look at this array, this two-dimensional array, okay, if we look at this two-dimensional array, here we can break this two-dimensional array into multiple one-dimensional array. This will be one array, this will be second array, this will be third array, and so on, right? So that's what I'm doing here. I'm breaking my two-dimensional array into one-dimensional first. Okay, then I'm again breaking that one-dimensional into individual values. So we'll put a debug point here and we'll execute this code in debug mode and we'll see. Nishta, you have a question. Exactly what is the purpose of enhanced for loop when we can use normal for loop? The reason is many a times using simple for loop things become very difficult to maintain because there you have to maintain ij, right? It's very difficult to maintain ij and many a time people make a mistake while calculating the length, while calculating the column length and so on. So for the all the fixed number of iteration, like here this array has a fixed number of iteration. Similarly, you will see same thing when we'll study enhanced data structure like arrays, array list, linked list, or queues, or sets and all. That time you will see this loop will help us a lot. We don't have to calculate the length or size. Okay, so so what I did here is, here I have two-dimensional array. I break down into one-dimensional array. Okay. Uh, I didn't get your question. Anshu, you're saying why not square brackets in column section? Didn't got this second. Yeah, I'll show you. Let me execute it in debug mode. Probably that will clear it more. Okay, so let me execute it in debug mode. Debug Java application. See, currently I just have an ARR array, right? Now I'll press F5. Look at this. I created another array with the name temp_row. What this temp_row have? This temp_row for the first iteration have all the rows, or sorry, all the columns of first row. So look at this. ARR of 0 has three values: 23, 25, 27, right? So what this has? 23, 25, 27. So for the first iteration, what I did, I break my two-dimensional array into a one-dimensional array representing one row each. So this represents the first row, all the columns or all the cells of first row. Now we got the first row. We want to iterate over each value of that row. Okay, so for that, if I press F5, you can see another variable is created with name temp call. Okay, so what this have? This have the first value of my first row. Okay, so this temp column have first row, first column. Then I execute it again. You can see that 23 is printed. Now what I have first row, second column. First row, second column has a 25 value. Then first row's third column has 27 value. So it will change the value to 27. Then next row will come, right? So next row is ARR of 1. ARR of 1 has these three values: 43, 65, 97. So this time the variable which will be created, that will again be a array, but what the values it will have? This will have values from the second row. Again we'll break them into individual: 43, 65, then 97. Then again next time this will be gone, another value will become. Okay, so clear how we are running it in debug mode? Okay, Abhilasha, you have a question how debug how to debug arrived in this program, or how to identify debug. Okay, Abhilasha, actually these things I'll cover in detail in the other batch, but yeah, for now, if you want to know, I mean, these things are already covered in detail in this batch, but if you want to learn the exact reason for that, the exact reason is, see, I put a debug point here. We call it a breakpoint. How you can put, just double click on the line number. I want to put a debug mode at 25 line number, right? So what I'll do, I'll just at the 25, here we have this bar, just double click on it. It will insert a debug point or breakpoint. If you double click again, it will be gone. Okay, or another way is right click, toggle breakpoint. Okay, so this will put a breakpoint. Then this means that the code will come and stop here. After that, it will give you a way to iterate it one by one, to execute each line one by one. Okay, so next what we are doing, right click, then run as. If you do run as Java application, it will totally run it, execute it in one go. But same thing, if you do it with debug as, then it will go and stop at this debug point. Okay, so here you can see it has stopped, or it has halted at this point. Then there are two ways. One is this step into, second is step over. For now you can execute any one. It will keep on executing the lines one by one. So first line is executed, you can see above, temp row is created. I press again F5, temp column is created, that value get printed. Then again and so on. Clear? Probably in detail I'll explain once we'll go through. I mean, in the other batch I'll cover it in detail, so you can join that. Okay, anyone has any question here?
Sort of the same question. Why we are not putting the bracket for the column? Means I'm not getting that part.
See,
If
just
this have temp.
yeah, this is the syntax. I'll explain you. Just give me a minute. See, look at you're saying that why we are not putting a column here or here. I mean, what exactly is your question?
Yeah, in the second for loop in temp call. In this one, why we are not putting that bracket?
Here.
The same way we are putting in a temp row. Yeah, here.
Okay. See, look at the normal enhanced loop. What we did, we had one dimensional array, right? We breaked it into individual values. So what this temp variable is, temp variable have individual values, right? It's an integer value, not an array. Similarly, if you come here, what we are doing, my two-dimensional array, the two-dimensional array which I have, I'm breaking into one-dimensional array. That's why I put a square bracket here. So this temp row, when you saw it in debug mode, you saw that it was an array. So it's like declaring an array. Now once you have declared an array, in the second for loop, you are iterating over each value of an array. So what this temp colon data type should be? The temp colon data type should be an integer value, normal int value. So that's why I'm not putting a square bracket, because we want it to be a normal integer instead of an integer array, so that we can iterate over individual values. So this is like breaking your two-dimensional array into a one-dimensional array first. That's why we put a single square bracket, and then that single dimensional array was broken down into individual values. That's why we put a simple int, not an int array. Clear now?
Okay, okay, sorry.
Clear?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Any other questions, anyone? Okay. So the reason why I covered two-dimensional array is because in Selenium, we might not use directly the array, but we will be using something known as tables, right? So tables are just like an array. Agree to it? Just like a two-dimensional array. So in tables, we have to learn how to iterate over each row and over each column. So the logic will remain same. Now the only thing which will change will be either it will be an array, or it will be a table, or it will be a matrix. It can be anything. Logic will remain same. Okay. So yeah, that's all in two-dimensional array now. Next topic I'll start is string. Okay, but before that, let's have break for 7 minutes, and then we'll continue for 1 more hour, and then we'll have a break for half an hour. Okay. Okay, so see you after 7 minutes, and then we'll continue with strings. Okay, so we can continue now. A quick yes if you all can hear me. Guys, can you hear me? A quick yes. Okay, thanks for the confirmation. Let's start with the string handling now. Okay, another important topic before we proceed with the OOPS concepts, that is the string handling, because there are many things which we need to learn in string handling, okay, which will help you in handling files basically when you'll be reading from files. That time they'll help you a lot. Okay, so string is a data type we all studied, remember? So it is string, and then maybe I can call it, give it a name, string str equal to. Now, here you are creating a string variable. Okay, now look at the way it is, this string is implemented, and look at the way your normal variables are implemented. If I have to create int x, so you can see that this int word is getting converted into some color, some other color, purple color. Okay, and I created a variable. Here also I'm creating a variable only, but this time this is not converting, it's not a keyword. Also, we are using a capital word instead of a small word. So what is this string? String is actually not a primitive data type, it's a non-primitive data type, but is used a lot. That generally it is generally we cover this topic along with normal primitive data types. So actually this string is a class. So you can see when I hover over it, you can see here it's written that it's a class. Okay, c means class. The string class represent character strings. All the string literals in Java programs such as ABC are implemented as an instance of this class. So we'll create an instance of this class. Strings are constant and their values cannot be changed after they are created. Okay, so yeah, more details you can study from Java docs. I'll teach you what exactly you need for to learn for your programs. Okay, so here when I created this string variable, I'll say str equal to, when I have to give the values, every value you'll whatever you want to give, you have to put it in double quotes. Okay, whatever you write inside it will be considered as one string. Maybe my name Saurabh Dhingra. Okay, so this is one string which we have, one string variable which we have created. Okay, if I just simply say system.out.println, and here I'll say str, I just want to print this. So when I execute this code, whatever string you have given, that will get print. Okay, as this string is a class, it provides us many methods which you can use to handle this string. Because in real time, many a time you'll face a situation where you want to do something extra with this string. Maybe you want to get the first name. Here you can see I have written both first name and last name, right? You just want to get the first name. What you can do is you can break this. You can break this string. You can get this white space. You can do many things with it. So I'll give you examples one by one. Okay. So let's start with the basic one. Str dot. As soon as I press dot, you'll get many methods which are there inside, which are written inside that string class. Okay. Like one of the method is, uh, let's say you want to change everything into uppercase. So I'll say str dot to uppercase. What this will do, it will convert all your lower letters into capital letters. So if I print str now, if I print now, you can see first time it is printing with the way we have written, and the second time it is printing with all capital letters. So what we did, this was our variable str. We called a method to upper string or to uppercase. What this method did, this method converted everything into capital letters and assigned it back to the same variable. So now this str variable has everything in capital letters. Similar to this uppercase, we also have lowercase. So str dot to lowercase. Okay, so what this will do, it will convert everything into lowercase. So if I say str equal to str dot lowercase and I'll print that, let's say I'm saying in lower case str. Okay, same thing. Here I just add in upper case. So if I execute it now, you can see in uppercase everything is printed in capital letters. In lowercase everything is printed in small letters. Okay, so these are two methods. Then what else we have? When you want to compare two strings, the value of two strings, then we have a method called equals. What this equals method do? This method returns us a boolean value. Boolean means true and false. Okay, so if you're comparing a string with another value and both are exactly same, including case sensitivity, if both are exactly same, then you'll get uh, true, but if they are different, then you'll get a false. So here, if say, let's say I'm saying str dot equals what? Let's say you're comparing it with Saurabh Dhingra. Okay, so as it's a boolean value, it will return a boolean value. So I'll say boolean, maybe a variable flag equal to this. I'm just saying r equal. We'll see flag. Okay, so when I execute this code, you can see it is returning me true. Why they are returning true? Because I put Saurabh Dhingra. If I change the sensitivity, like if I change it to S is capital, if I execute it now, you'll get a false. Why? Because this equals method exactly matches the word. So here my string is in lowercase now. So it expect it to be in lowercase. Okay, so clear with this method equals. This is the most frequently used method equals. What it do? It compares your string with the value you're passing in the argument. Clear? Any questions, anyone? Okay, so here we match. This equals method was where the match is exactly same. Like it should be capitals. I mean, case sensitivity is also matched. right? Many a times we need a situation where we don't want case sensitivity to affect. Okay, so in that case we also have another method where we'll say str dot equals ignore case. So what this do, no matter how many letters are in capital or how many letters in small, it will not check the sensitivity, case sensitivity. It will just check the word. Okay, here the word is Saurabh Dhingra. So when you convert it into small, okay, uh, so I execute it. Okay, oh, let me print it. So when I execute it now, after r equal after ignoring case, true. So you can see that this time they have ignored the case and then matched the strings. Okay. Susie, you have a question. What is difference between double equal and dot equals? It's a very good question actually. See, double equals to is not used for string. Okay, double equal to is used for all other variables. If you're comparing integers or long or short or anything, then if you're comparing two non-string variables, then you can use double equal to sign. But if you have to compare two strings, then dot equals is the method. Okay. Yes. Any other questions here? Okay, so just remember when you have to compare with uh, I mean case sensitivity, then you have to use dot equals. If you want to compare without case, then equals ignore case is the method. Let's see other str dot. We have a method ends with. Okay, so sometimes you want to check whether something ends with, maybe there is a file name, maybe we have a file name, string file name, there is a variable and you have given the name as maybe uh, test data dot txt. You're looking for a txt file. So if it's not a txt file, you want to just move. Okay, so I can put a condition here that if file name dot ends with what, txt. If it ends with a txt, then I'll simply say a valid file, else not a valid file. Okay, so see, when I execute this code, you will get a valid file. Okay, let's say I just change it to this txte. When I execute it now, you will see it's not a valid file is printed. So one of the example where this can be used, but yeah, this is the method ends with to verify whether a particular string ends with a particular text or not. Clear? Okay, like this we have a list of long list of methods. I'll just go through it. Okay, if you find any issue in any one of the frequently used one, do let me know. Otherwise, I mean, covering all will be a difficult task. So ends with, I guess you understand. So we are just verifying whether whatever string we are passing as an argument, if the desired string is ends with that or not. Similarly, next is character at. What it returns, it gives us character at a particular index. Say for example, I'll say character at fourth index. Okay, so look at the Saurabh Dhingra, Saurabh, right? So we are taking the fourth index. Index always starts with 0. So this will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what should I get? I should get a A. If I print it, if I print this, I should get a A. So you can see I'm getting an A. Okay, similarly, if you just change it to something else, 6, then I should get whatever is at seventh value. So you're getting an H. Any questions in this? Anyone? Okay. Next is what else we have in it? Let's see. str dot. We saw character at is like we just got when you want to check what is the value at that character, equals who we discussed, equals ignore case we discussed, to lowercase we discussed, to uppercase we discussed. Okay, character sequence, let it be, we are taking the one which are at which are with this string. Okay, code point I don't know, code point before I don't know, code point anyone I don't know. Compare to is like you're comparing with another string. Okay, so it returns us, see the return type, it is integer. When we are checking equals, that time the return type was boolean, but when we are checking uh, compare to, that time we are getting something known as integer value. Return type is integer. So what you'll get 1 or 0. So 1 will be like they are equal, or sorry, not equal. Compare is like yeah, length comparison. Okay, so like one string is less, the second one is more, like that. If I hover over it, it will be more clear. So here it says compares two strings lexicographically. The comparison is based on the Unicode of each character in the string. The character sequence represented by string object is compared lexicographically to the character sequence represented by the argument string. The result is a negative number if string object precedes the argument string. Means if one comes above and other one comes below, then I mean in the order they come up and down. Something like this is there. Okay, and so on. So yeah, this is compared to, not used much, I have never used, so that's why I don't remember even. Okay, like this there are many, like you have concat, you have contains to check whether particular character is there or not, content equals, then ends with, get bytes, and so on. There is a long list of methods. Okay, so whatever it will be your requirement, you can check from here what suits you, and that you can use in your as a method. Okay, Bilasha, you have a question how to check Excel file. You can compare I mean the, like here when I said text file, right, where it is, I said text file. When you want to compare Excel, then it will be XLSX or Excel. So I can say if file name ends with XLS, or because uh, or and then again XLS, because both are the extension of Excel sheet. This is also an extension of Excel sheet, and this is also an extension of Excel sheet. Okay. Okay, one more thing which is important, that is how to break this array, or how to break this string. So here you can see that I have a string which has two letters in it, Saurabh and Dhingra. two words in it, right? So I want both of them to be separated. So what you can do is, uh, I'll create one string array. So string array, how you can create string, then a square bracket, then give a name, say let's say strarr, string array equal to str is my string dot, there is a method called split. Okay, what this method will do, split method will divide your string into multiple values based on the regex you'll pass. So this string array is an array of type string. Str is that string. You're splitting it based on, let's say, white space. Okay, I just put a space bar, that means white space. So in this, you have a white space, right? Here is the white space. So it will break it into two letters. Now, uh, let's say I just want to print strarr of first value, it will go at 0th index. Similarly, second value will go at first index. So here I can say uh, first name, first name is this, and let's say second name is this. So when I execute it, so here first name is Saurabh and second name is Dhingra. Clear? Any questions on this? Like this, go through all the methods. If you think that you need something and you're not able to understand that, do let me know. I'll help you. But these are the few ones which are frequently used, which I have just explained. So we'll be using them a lot, especially the last one, that is breaking a string into a string array. Any questions, anyone? Okay, you have a question, where do we use parseInt? We'll cover that. That is integer.parseInt. One more thing, like Susie has just reminded me, uh, sometimes you might need some methods. Maybe say for example, you have an int value 40, 56 maybe. Okay, and as this is, it's an integer, maybe int x equal to 56 maybe. Okay, as it's an integer, let's say I just want to convert it into a string. What should I do? Okay, so in this case, what you can do is, there is a method known as uh, string, sorry, string dot, there is a method known as string dot value of, and pass the integer. Okay, so what it will do, this will convert your integer value into a string. Now you can put that into a string variable. Okay, so this str value is a string now. Okay, so clear. Say for example, I have x equal to this and 45. So I can say x plus y. This is what I'm doing, and then I am copying it, pasting it here, value 1, and here I'll change it to y. And then I'm saying system.out.println str value plus str value 1. Okay, tell me what should be the return type, what should get print. I mean, what will be printed here and what will be printed here. When I'm doing x equal to 56, y equal to 45, what should get print here? And when I'm doing this, what should get print here? Okay, so most of you have given the perfect answer. Let's see what will happen here. 101 will get print, whereas in this one, 5645 will get print. So if I execute this, aren't we in debug mode? What? Okay, session is still running. Okay, when I run it in debug in Java, you can see what it do. See, first one printed 101 because here we were using two integer values, whereas in the second one it printed 5645 because in the second one what we did, we converted both of them into string, and then we are so this plus when used with two integers add them up, but when used between two strings it concatenates. Clear? Any questions, anyone?
Saurabh, I just wanted to know about the previous step before the string value conversion, which
Hmm.
is system.out.println first name
Okay.
plus str dot of
Okay.
zero. So what is the zero? I mean, what
Okay.
does this
Okay.
capture?
I'll explain. See, let me put a debug mode here and we'll execute it in debug mode and we'll see. Okay, look at this. Currently, I'm at this position. We have only one variable, that is str. If I open it, you can see that in the value it has, I mean, how string stores it, it stores them into single character. Okay, so you can see str of 0, str of 1, 2, 3, and so on. So its value is like, I mean, at index, right? Now, when I execute this step, which step? This one, where my code is. So if I press F6, F5, you can see that a string is created. If I open it, it has two values. So it created one string array. So this is one string array. What I did currently in my str, the value was Saurabh Dhingra. You can see here str has a value Saurabh Dhingra. What I did, I split. Split means break. Break on what? Whatever regex you are passing. So what regex I am passing? I am passing a white space. So in these two letters, wherever it finds a white space, it will break it. Break it and convert, start putting into values. So for example, I have Saurabh space Dhingra space some other values, or let's say my name is Saurabh. Okay, then what it will do, it will break it into my, then a space, then my name will be the second, is will be the third, Saurabh will be the fourth, and Dhingra will be the fifth. Like this, it will divide. Okay, so here, when you have to access those value, see this string array is an array now. It has a value which got splitted based on white space. So we have two values at 0th index and at first index. So if you want to get the value at 0th index, put a square bracket and 0. If you want to get value at first index, put a square bracket and get a value 1. Clear now? Okay. Anyone, any questions? Okay, then I just forget one more important method. Probably let me take that as well, or I can take here. See, I'm putting not in the start. Okay, see, I just put some white spaces in it. Now I'll say system.out.println str dot, there is a method called length. What this method do? It returns us the size of the string. Okay, here I can say, let's say string size. Okay, when I execute it, you will see the size is coming as 24. Okay, if I look at here, it is also considering all the white spaces we have. Okay, so just remember that whenever you are using or calculating the length of any string, white spaces, no matter where they are, in between or at the end or in the starting, no matter where they are always considered. Okay, now many a times we have a requirement, because what happens is whenever I copy paste from somewhere, I by mistake I copy some white space from the end, and let's say I don't want these white spaces from the end. So there is a method known as str dot, I mean string, whatever string variable we have, dot, there is a method known as trim. What this method do? This trim method removes all the white spaces from the end. Okay, so after trimming, if you look at the size, after trimming, if I look at the size, you will see earlier the size was 24 with white spaces at the end, but now without any white space, the size is 15. Okay, so what this trim method did, it removed all the white spaces from the end. So just remember, it removes only from the end, not from the start. Say for example, if I put 4 white spaces at the start, okay, so okay, it removes from the start as well, that means. Okay, my bad. So trim method actually removes from start as well as from end. So you can see that when I added the trim, there's white spaces from the start. 24 got changed to 28, but the string size is still 15. So it removes white spaces from the start as well as from the end. I can hover over it and return and read. Okay, here you can see returns a string whose value is the string with any leading and trailing white spaces removed. Good. So it removes from the start as well as from the end. Clear? Any questions, anyone? Okay, Nishta, you had this question, sum of string. Do you have any questions here? So what does I mean by summation of string? Summation of string is uh, like this is used to concatenate. I mean, they'll not sum this up because here they summed it up. 56 and 45 was converted into 107. Why? Because the sum of 45 and 56 is 101. And when we are using this str value and str value 1, what it is doing, it is converting this 56 into a string, 45 into a string. Then those string are like with this plus symbol, they are getting concatenated. Okay, so concatenation means first string, then just after first string is ended, second string will be printed. So here 5645 get printed. Okay, so Abhilasha, you have a question how to use parseint. Parseint is something not from string class, it is from integer class. Okay, I have that in my agenda. I mean, going forward, I'll cover it. But still, if you want to see, I can, I can tell you. See, I want an integer value. Let's say maybe z. Okay, and whatever I'm getting from this str value 1 plus str value 2, let's say I want to convert that into integer. Okay, so for that, integer provides, there is a class called integer. Okay, we'll discuss about this integer in detail. Dot, there is a method called parseInt. What this method do, whatever string you pass here, and if it is possible to convert that into an integer, then it will convert that into an integer. Like here, okay, like here, um, when I execute it, you can see that 5645 is getting printed. Why this? Because whatever strings you passed, it converted into an integer, and then that value is in an integer variable. So this pass.int parseInt will convert a string into an integer. But remember, only if it is possible. See, if it is something like this, if it is something like this, then see what happens. You're getting an exception. Why? Because the value you are trying to convert into an integer is not an integer. It's a string, right? So what it is saying, exception is in main thread for input string this. ParseInt is throwing an exception, number format exception, because it has to be in number format, then only it will convert it into an integer. Clear? Is it clear, Abhilasha? You asked this question, and Susie, you asked this question. So clear with integer.parseInt, though we'll cover it little more about it going forward. Okay, so let's proceed then. If you don't have any question, what's next? So string is done. String handling is done from my side. Next topic which I have to cover is, I'll start with OOPS concept, object-oriented programming concepts, in detail, one by one. Okay, so do you want to have break now, like half an hour break now, and then at what at 12:45 we can continue again? Fine with it? Okay, fine. So it's 12:15. Let's meet again at 12:45. That is exactly after half an hour. Okay. And I'm ending the session now because half an hour break will be, I mean, putting a timer will not be a good idea. So I'm ending the session now. I'll convert this video separately and another video will convert separately. Okay. So see you are at 12:45 and then we'll continue with OOPS concepts. Thanks everyone. So I'm ending the session now. See you after half an hour.